For 2000 years, an entire civilization existed, thrived, built cities, engineered water systems, traded across continents. Then it disappeared, not in collapse, not in natural disaster, deliberately, erased from every map, every record, every official history. Until 3 weeks ago, when archaeologists found the ruins and realized we'd been standing on the proof the whole time. The area they uncovered spans 127,000 square kilometers. That's larger than England, larger than New York State. Imagine a territory so vast that if you stood at one edge and walked straight across, it would take you 3 weeks. And until this excavation, every academic database listed it as empty, archaeologically insignificant, a blank space on the historical map. But the earth doesn't lie. Not if you're listening. What they found were settlements arranged in a deliberate grid pattern across the plateau, not random villages, but a network civilization. The city centers alone held populations between 50,000 and 200,000 people each. For context, London in 1200 AD had maybe 25,000 residents. This civilization had multiple cities the size of medieval London, thriving simultaneously, during an era when the historical record insists this entire region was sparsely populated. The water engineering is what should have been the giveaway. Carved aqueducts, underground cisterns, terraced agricultural systems that fed populations across a 500-kilometer supply chain. The infrastructure required to manage this scale of settlement, it's visible on satellite imagery, been visible for decades. We just weren't seeing it because we weren't looking for it, because the official map said there was nothing there to find. Here's where it becomes unbearable. The records that should document this civilization, trade logs, tax records, diplomatic correspondence, they exist in archives, in the holdings of colonial governments who mapped this region. The bureaucrats wrote it down, they knew. They documented the ruins, the settlements, the evidence of organized human achievement, and then they wrote it out of history, labeled the region undeveloped, primitive, requiring civilization, the exact language used to justify conquest, extraction, erasure. The hot-cold flush hits here in the recognition. You were right, the authorities were wrong. The thing you suspected, the gap you felt between the official story and the shape of the land itself, it was real. The civilization they said never existed, existed. You feel it for 2 seconds, that vindication, that coronation conducted in a cupboard. The smile forming before the face decides whether to smirk or stay neutral. Then the frame shifts. The coin turns over in your hand. Being right about the lost civilization means being right about the erasure too. These weren't anonymous ruins. These were people, sophisticated people, people who engineered water systems more advanced than their contemporary neighbors, people who built trade networks spanning 200 kilometers, people whose pottery styles and architectural choices indicate not just survival, but culture, intentional, refined, individual. And their entire achievement was catalogued, witnessed, documented, and then systematically removed from the historical record. The dread curdles the vindication. You were right to wonder, and right to feel that something was missing. What the excavation has revealed is how thorough the erasure was. There are gaps in the records, deliberate gaps. Sections of tax records removed, maps redrawn, archaeological survey reports filed and then lost in archives. The absence itself is now evidence. The shape of what's missing testifies to what was there. This matters now because we're repeating the machinery, right now in real time. There are civilizations being written out of the present-day historical record, ecosystems being erased from environmental policy because they weren't included in the foundational surveys, indigenous knowledge systems being replaced with official versions that match the authorized narrative. We're watching the erasure happen while calling it progress. The discovery in these ruins isn't ancient history, it's a mirror. A 2,000-year-old precedent for how thoroughly humans can unmake the achievements of other humans, given sufficient institutional will and enough time. The civilization was there. The proof was always there. We just required permission to see it. And even now, with the excavation complete, with the pottery analyzed, with the water systems mapped, the historical textbooks won't change for years. The university curricula will lag. The standard narrative will persist in academic journals because changing it requires admitting the previous narrative was complicit in erasure. The official map will remain blank in most minds, because to fill it in is to accept that we don't know our own history as well as we thought, that the authorities got it wrong, that something vast can exist in plain sight and still vanish. The civilization has been found, it was never lost, we just weren't permitted to see it. And now that we do, now that we hold the proof in our hands, we have to decide what it costs to know.